Hey guys! So today I'm gonna make a fun Kandinsky inspired art that you can do at home as well. All of the supplies I'm using would be found in one or both of our art to go bags. And this is a perfect day to do some art inside because it is so rainy out. So first I'm going to just show you what supplies I'm using. We have our oil pastels, and like this. And we got, of course, our watercolors here. Mine have been very used and loved on, as you can tell. And the brush is inside there. We have our pencil and eraser. Put that aside. Napkin, and then my glass of water for the watercolors, and of course my paper pad. So I'm gonna open this up and actually take out a piece of paper. As you can tell, I work on the same spot always, just so I can get messy. It's nice to have a designated place where you can make a mess or somewhere that cleans easily. All right, so first what we're gonna do is make our background. So you can kind of do your background however you want. I'm gonna be doing some like floral looking designs. So I'm gonna try to make my background look like it might be outside, maybe around like sunset or sunrise. So I'm opening up my color or watercolors, and if I can get it out, and I'm gonna take my water and going to just wetten or get all my watercolors wet. I usually like to just put a good amount of water in each color, or a little each little color cubby or circle. It's good to let the water sit for a little bit. That's why I usually just wet them all at once. The pigments will be much brighter if the paint's a little thicker and the water has sat on it for a little while. So I'm just adding a good amount of water to each. All right, that's good. So, like I said, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of a sunset, sunrise feel. Put my watercolors right there. So here we go. Let's do maybe some reds. And you can make your colors as bright or as dull as you'd like. Or I guess faint, I should say. Light. We are going to be adding some really bright pops of color once we get our background in and we add our flowers. So this doesn't necessarily have to be too bright. So I'm kind of just going back and forth. I've put a little orange and red in so far, dipping my paintbrush into my water every once in a while, and just blending it back and forth, back and forth. I love yellows. Adding some yellows. brighten this up a little. Some yellow underneath here. And let's see. Ooh, that bright pigment looks kind of nice like that. I might not try to water that down too much. Just kind of blend it in with the yellow. Maybe pull it up a little bit on top. So I'm gonna do a little bit of purple and blue at the top as well. Ooh, yeah. So it's looking nice. I might just honestly do yellow down to the bottom. You probably can't hear it, but the rain sounds so nice, so relaxing. You don't even need music, you can just listen to the rain. So this is just how I'm putting my color down, but you should definitely experiment with different colors. Keep in mind that if you have two complementary colors touching each other, they could make brown. So for example, up here, before I had yellow and I put in my red before I added my purple, because purple and yellow make brown. I didn't really want brown in my sky. Orange and blue are complementary colors, so they can make brown if they might make brown if they touch, and then also red and green. So just keep that in mind when you're layering these colors up together. Unless you want some brown in your sky, it's totally fine. All right, so this is my background, but I want to let this dry completely before my next step. Awesome, see you in a bit. All right, so now my gorgeous background is dry for our next step. You want it to be completely dry, so I don't feel any wet spots. I'm gonna take my pencil, then you have your eraser if you need it, but you really don't need to make dark lines. You kind of want to make them lighter, so they would be easy to erase if needed. And I'm just gonna make circles like that. It might be hard to see. There it is. And you can make them some like different sizes. Totally up to you. I'm gonna make mine relatively the same size. Maybe some a little smaller, some a little bigger. All right, so I'm gonna do that. So it's kind of, my circles are not equal. They're not equally spaced, because I want a little variety. All right, so Kandinsky, in some of his art, he loved making these circles. They're like layered colored circles. So I'm gonna take my oil pastel now. So this is fun. You are really just gonna make layers of color. You can start at the inside or the outside of each circle. I'm gonna start on the left side and work my way to the right, just so I don't smudge my hand in it. If I went, you know, right to left, I'd be smudging my hand over it. So I'm gonna go left to right since I'm right-handed. Totally up to you. It just might help you from smudging. So let's get to it. I'm gonna do my first circle and then I might speed it up once you get the idea. So go like that. And fill it in a little. And if you go back, I encourage you to go back and look at some of Kandinsky's work. These are not, all the layers are not equal. They're not perfectly circle. So don't pressure yourself for making it perfect. Actually, you kind of want the opposite. You want to have those little imperfections, those little inconsistencies. It just makes it nicer. So after I do one layer, I'm just gonna take my finger and blend that in a little bit, like so. Just smudge it. It kind of gives it a nice, like, hazy look. I really like it. And then you have your napkin to smush off that color if needed. You can even dip it in a little water if needed and clean your finger. So I'm gonna try to do that after every layer. So let's go on to some green. Smudge that. So I did overlap them a little bit. I'm kind of just making sure they're blended together. If they overlap and smudge together, that's totally fine. Let's see, I'm gonna do a pop of white. So like I said, we want some inconsistency, so I'm gonna make maybe part of this circle a little bigger. And smudge that. Clean off my finger in between. Do some orange. So you can see my layers are almost making my circle now like oval inside. And you can see some of that orange is smudging into the white, which is kind of nice. I like that. So smudge as much as you want. Cleaning my finger. And let's do, for our last color, this nice brown. It's kind of like a burnt sienna color. We'll do that in the middle. Lastly, smudge. All right, so that's just one of my circles, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to do. So I'll fill those in. I'll probably fast forward here, because you kind of probably get the idea. And then I'll show you the next step. Awesome. All right, awesome. So now that we have all those done, we can go on to our next step. And this step you don't have to do if you don't want to. I think it just makes our circles pop a little more. I'm gonna take my black and outline my different layers. Like I said, it'll just kind of make your colors pop a little more contrast. You can leave them how they are if you like them without the lines. So I'm gonna do that right now. Probably fast forward through this part because you'll kind of get the idea. All right, cool. So I outlined all of my circle layers with a black, and you can see I smudged them somewhat. They don't have to be super smudged, but just to kind of give them a little, almost like glow, or a little bit of like warmth. That's how I feel when you smudge it a little. All right, so those are the tops of our flowers. Now what we're gonna do is add the stems and the leaves. So you want to get your watercolors back with your water and your paintbrush and my napkin. So you can make your stems whatever color you want. I know traditionally they're green, but I'm gonna do like a dark, almost blackish green. So I'm gonna mix over here in my this little section of my watercolor palette, this little cubby, some black. Oh yeah. Some blue. And some green. So what this is going to do, it's going to make our black a little more rich. Do you like that blue? So it's like a bluish, blackish green. Also, when you're looking at something in a sunrise or sunset, usually it's darker, almost like a silhouette, so it's kind of that idea that we're going to give these stems and leaves. So the great thing about this brush that comes in your watercolors is it gets pretty pointy for details, if that makes sense, but it also can be wider if you need to, say, color in the background like we did before. All right, so I'm gonna start with this guy on the left, and all I'm gonna do is make a line, pulling that down like so. And you can add all the stems right now, or you can add the stems and the leaves as you go. I'm gonna add my leaves as I go. So there's lots of different leaves you could do. You could do a variety of them. Let's see. I'll do some kind of creative ones. I'm gonna fill that in. So this piece of art is very whimsical. So that's my first one. So you don't have to make it perfectly up and down straight. This one I did a little bit to an angle. And actually my leaves are gonna look for this one, look like they're coming off the bottom of the page. So this one I might actually layer a little bit. So I'm gonna have it go down like almost behind this one flower. And don't be scared to layer like I'm doing here. So this leaf, for example, would be behind this flower. And like I said, you can make your leaves any shapes you want. This isn't any particular flower per se. See, this one's leaves are coming out over here. All right, so this guy, so you can see the stem's kind of overlapping with where that leaf was. This guy is almost directly behind this other flower. So again, just layering that stem. While I'm at it, I'm just gonna add this stem as well. Mix more color if you need to. I think I have enough to finish. So I'm gonna pretend this one has a leaf sticking up behind this one. You can see that's very layered. Let's see. So I'm kind of just seeing wherever I need to add, maybe I might add one over here. Yeah. Kind of balance it a little more. But that's it. Just let that dry and it's ready to hang up after it's dry. Sign your work if you want to. You can with your paintbrush or your pencil. But that's it, folks. I really appreciate you stopping by and watching this fun video. I had a great time making it. Hold it up a little closer. It's really pretty. So go research some Kandinsky art. Maybe make your own version. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.